So again, I just gave you a quick little idea of a couple different percentage or probability figures. Naturally, we want to be able to do these calculations for something other than just z as an integer. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. How do you find the probability that z is less than 1.37? All right. To do this by hand, difficult next to impossible. So what are we going to do? Use the software. I'm going to show you how to do this using a couple different pieces of software. First, using Excel. Pull up Excel on your computer. Okay. So, as you're pulling up Excel, let me tell you this. The first thing, when you have a question like this, the first thing that you should do is draw the picture. So, how do we draw a picture of this situation? What's the first thing that we should draw? Sorry? First thing you have to draw. Where do we put z-scores? On the bottom of what? Of the bell curve. Have to draw the bell curve, the normal distribution first. Wow. All right. Crikey. Okay. So first we draw the bell curve. Now, what do we label on the bell curve? The z-scores, right. So what's the... So first of all, we're going to label z-scores, so write down a z. What's the first z-score that Joey's put down? 0. It's so easy. And where does 0 go? 0 goes in the middle. Now, we could put down 1, 2, 3 and all that, but those are actually going to distract us. It's going to make things messier than it needs to be. What's the other z-score that we're interested in for this problem? 1.37. So put it on the picture. Now, we're interested in finding a certain probability. How do we represent probability on this picture? Probability is the same as what? Area. So the question is, which area? Z less than 1.37. How do you represent z less than 1.37? No, not negative. What does it mean to be less than? How do you represent less than on a picture? Yes. No. Everything to the left. Everything to the left of what? Zero. Less than what? 1.37. So starting at 1.37, we go to the left. How far to the left?
All the way up the end.
All the way. Everything less than. Doesn't say greater than 0. It just says less than 1.37. Everything. Okay. So we haven't answered the question, but what we've done is drawn a picture of what the question is asking. So if we want to find the probability, what is it that we need to find? Nope. Probability is the same as area. Which area?
The whole thing that you shaded.
The whole thing that we just shaded, which is the area to the left. Exactly. So now I'm going to show you how to use the technology to find these things. Okay. So in Excel, Now remember, this is the normal distribution, but we're dealing with z-scores, so it's the standard normal distribution. So the command in Excel is norm s dist. What does norm stand for? Normal. What does the S stand for? Standard. Dist stands for distribution. Okay. But now also remember that we want Excel to do a calculation. So when you want to do a calculation, the first thing you have to type in is equals. So you type in equals norm s dist. Open parenthesis. Now Excel is so friendly. You type in equals norm s dist and parenthesis, and what does it tell you? It tells you it wants a z-score. So what z-score do we give it? What's this question asking about? What z-score is this question asking about? 1.37. So type in 1.37 and hit enter. And there's your answer. Now, also here's a tip. Most of the time, in fact almost always when we do probabilities, we're going to go to 4 decimal places. Why? Because that's what the online website wants, 4 decimal places. So get used to rounding to 4 decimal places. So the answer is 0.9147. So we should do 2 things. First of all, we should write down that the answer is 0.9147 and circle it, just because that's helpful. But also we should label it on the picture. What gets labeled on the picture as 0.9147? The shaded area. So the way I like to do that is I like to just draw a little line here and say that this is 0.9147. And that's it. Okay. Now, the next thing you have to be aware for what if we asked what's the probability that z is greater than 1.37? Then what are we asking for? The area to the right. Now the question is, how do we find that? Yeah. Yes. Why do you take 1 minus that? Yes. What do we know about all the area in total? It's 1. So what has to be true about the area to the right? When you add these 2 things up, what do you have to get? 1. You have to get 1. So 1 minus 0.9147 tells you what's left over. And that's how you find the area to the right. Notice that Excel will always, for the normal distribution, Excel always tells you the area to the left. Now this is one of the main reasons why it's very, very important to draw the picture. When you draw the picture, it forces you to remember which area you're finding. So for example, if actually, you know what, let me make you do 2 examples and then we'll talk about the lessons that you can draw from this. So you guys do these examples. Go. Oh, let me write it down. No. Okay, so let's talk about these. So the first question is find the probability that z is less than negative 1.77. So what's the first thing you do? The first thing you do, yes, Chastity, draw the picture. Get in the habit, first step, draw the picture. So how do we draw this picture? You draw your curve. Okay. And how do we first? How do we label the picture? Where does 0 go? And 0 goes in the middle for what? That's a z-score. So make sure you're labeling z. Okay. Next, what else do we need to label? Z-score negative 1.77. And what else do we put on the picture? Shade to the right of what? Okay. Now why do we shade to the right? It is?
It's less. So you shade to the left.
It says, yes, exactly. It says less than, so you shade to the left. Alright. Now you type in what you need into Excel, and what do you get? I'm sorry? Okay. You round it to 4 places, you get 0.0384. And is that your answer?
No. It doesn't have to take
0.0384 is your answer. Sorry? 6 what?
No, that's right. No, it's not 6. It's
4. Okay. What about the next one? Probability z is greater than 0.58. What's the first thing you do? Draw it. That's right. Okay. And the first thing you label is 0 in the middle for z. And what else do we label? 0.58. And then what? Shade to the right from 0.58. Now when you type this into Excel, what do you get? 0.7190. Is that your answer? No. What is 0.7190? 0.7190 is the area to the left. So let's label that. So how are we going to get our answer? You do 1 minus.
That's what I thought you had to do. I don't understand how is it to the left? What is to the right?
And this gives you 0.2810, and that's your answer. And let's also finish this by labeling it on the picture. So the area to the right is 0.2810. Question?
Why did you put 0.7190 to the left?
Because that's true. You punch it into Excel and it tells you 0.7190. But Excel always gives you the area to the left. Is that the area that we're looking for? Alright. Now what about the last 3? Make your picture. For Z, label 0 in the middle, and then label 2.33. And we want less than, so it's all this area. So you punch that into Excel, and what do you get? 0.9901. Okay. So, and that's the answer. Now what's the probability that Z is greater than 2.33? Yeah. This one's easy. You can just do 1 minus 0.9901, and that gives you 0.0099, and that's your answer. Now, because it's the same picture. Now what about the last one? the probability that z is less than negative 2.33. So for z we label 0 in the middle and then negative 2.33. And it's less than, so we shade which way? To the left. You work this out and what do you get? What do you get? Which one is it? Bovie, look at the picture. Could that area possibly 0.9901? There's no way. Right. You work it out and you get 0.0099. Now is this strange or is this expected? Why is this expected? Because, sorry, what? Exactly what Edward said. Okay. So let me go back and fill this in. The picture in the fourth question and the picture in the fifth question are exactly the same, just flip to the other side. And what's the word that says that? What word is the same but flipped the other way? It's symmetric. And we said that in the very beginning about this distribution. This distribution is symmetric. So the result is that the probability of z being greater than 2.33 is this little tail on the right. Probability z less than negative 2.33 is the little tail on the left. And they're exactly the same tail. It's exactly the same area. It's exactly the same probability. It's just that one is to the left and one is to the right. Well, one is the left tail and one is the right tail. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. So, sped a little bit, but I think that was good. And we'll continue with this next time.